You're listening to Make It, a podcast by Bonsai Creative that helps creatives in film get where they're going faster by sharing the advice, knowledge, and insights of professional creatives across the film industry. I'm your host, Chris Barkley, and with me today is my good friend and Make It podcast co-host, Nicholas Bugs. Hello, Chris here with another episode of the Make It podcast. And this is an Indie Talk week. And that means I have my good friend and co-founder, Nicholas Bugs, with me on this podcast. Nick, please say hello.
I love it, man. I'm going to say hello, of course, because that's what I got to do. But, you were just singing to me a second ago, man. It was great. I mean, it was like, again, on this podcast, my friend, Nicholas Bugs, he's here. We're going to do it. It's fun. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, it's like a type of podcast fry.
There you go.
It's like you got to go up and up, and I'm going to make you excited by going up. And
I felt that. Yeah, I was like
everything I say. Yeah, I mean it's kind of how you do things. We'll get the energy right. We want to let the audience know what the energy is going to be.
That's right.
The thrust of this is going to be for the episode, kind of like Green Goblin behind you is
the thrust.
Letting you know about his thrust. I see his giant crotch in the picture behind you.
Yeah, I just don't understand. I just don't understand.
Good for you.
You're all in here now. Of course, people who are listening can't see it, but yes,
Nick has a Spider-Man poster behind him, and it is focused on both Spider-Man and Green Goblin's crotch.
Yeah, and I think
I don't know what it says about you.
I don't know, but that's the question, really. Is the poster focused or are you focused? I think that's the challenge here. This is just a comic book cover, man. You're all in. It's like you can't take your eyes off of it.
A smart person, a wise person once told me two things can be true.
Oh.
You own this poster. I am noticing not that Spider-Man is in full karate mode, but that their crotches are
in full
wide,
view. Right.
Full view, open. By the way, we'd be remiss if we didn't say Happy New Year, or in your case, Nick,
Merry New Year.
Exactly. And we really had some deep ambition and intention to have an indie talk before 2021 concluded. And yet the reality and the truth is that both Nick and I and several team members of Bonsai were all snapped by Omicron.
That's right.
And so if you hear us cough throughout this episode because we're making each other laugh or something like that, it's because we are getting over the Omicron. I just took 2 Z-Pack pills, some albuterol, if that's how you pronounce it. I'm sure it's not. And what else did I take, Nick? I took, Flonase. So
you did take the Flonase?
I've got so much stuff in me right now. God, there's much better language to use than that. I've taken medicine.
Yep.
I'm feeling good from an energy standpoint. I may not sound great, Nick, is what I'm saying. Yeah. And I don't know about you. Are you on stuff?
At the moment, I will say earlier I did the albuterol, but I thought about the Flonase, but ran out of the Flonase. I need to go get more. But I am on tons of tea, man. Just lemon, honey, tea. That's it. Just drinking that like crazy.
Look, right here.
Yeah, man.
That's throat coat right here.
Just
ready
finish
to go.
Mine. And it's a challenge. I know that this episode, I'm already trying to woosah a little bit to prepare myself for this episode because you know how we do. We have a good time. We make each other laugh. And laughing is, it's terrible when you got, Omicron going through your lungs and stuff, man. It's just, it gets you. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So, but yeah, you put it out there. Our listeners know what's up. our bad if it happens, but we're going to push through this and make it happen because it's all good in 22. So,
That's
starting
right.
out on a good foot.
Yeah. I haven't had any trouble adjusting to 22 either. Normally every year there'll be the first week or two where you have that gaffe where you write down the wrong year or you say the wrong year or you go to the wrong year on your calendar, on your phone or whatever. Not this
you
year.
Say the wrong name.
Yeah. This year it's just been, or you say the wrong name. It's just been 2020. The biggest problem has been saying 2022. It's a mouthful for me because I guess my teeth and tongue, but 2022 I'm practicing just slowing down. 2022. And before we jump into the topic today, which is interesting, we have a variety of kind of things we want to touch on that sort of pertain to the future for filmmakers. We will do a wrap up of 2021, hopefully in the next couple of days. We will have a special indie talk, I believe, for folks in the next few days and tons of announcements to come in the next 30 to 45 days. So stick with us. We really appreciate you. We love you for listening. And there it goes. I just broke up right there.
Yep, we got you.
We love you for listening and sticking with us, supporting this. And we're not going to let you down. We're going to give you a lot of good stuff. So today we want to talk about, maybe readdress what filmmakers want. What do you really want? And we've talked about this before. We're going to bring a new twist to it today, but we've talked about it before in terms of how this podcast got started. Many years ago, we asked a singular question to filmmakers. What does it mean to make it? And that's how we got the namesake for the podcast, Make It. We took it from that question, what does it mean to make it? And invariably, the answer came back 80% or higher. I just want to make money doing the thing I love. Well, as we hopped in, became angel investors and equity investors and different filmmakers, as we started to get into a variety of different experiences with a variety of different creatives, we found that number shouldn't have been that high. It's not that it should be zero. It's not that it should be 10%. It's not that like 90% of the people were lying to us, but the number's probably lower. It's probably closer to a coin flip, Nick. And maybe you could give your thoughts on what that percentage really is. But we think filmmakers might want something more than just to pay their bills doing what they love, right?
Yeah, and I kind of wonder, if it changes over time as well. But, so there's the one you just mentioned, which is, making a living, doing what you love. The other side is being a flipping celebrity, right? Being film famous, being Hollywood. And I think that's what a lot of folks really want. So when we came into the game, we're really thinking, what they were telling us, right? We're asking a question, we're expecting the truth. So we're trying to help them where they are, right? To make a living doing what they love. You're an indie creative. You want to be the best at what it is you're doing. Mm-hmm. But then as we start getting into it, helping people out, having conversations, trying to help in some cases where people are like, I don't really want to do it that way. We're like, wait. What you're saying is you don't want to be successful doing what it is you're doing. You just want someone to see this work of yours and think it's the best thing and then get you on the next Avengers movie. Like, wait a second. Like, what are we trying to do here? So the reason why it's like a big topic for me going into 2022 is I think that there's still this community out there that, we want to be a part of, but not just be a part of it, but we want to help. We want to change the game for them. That's the whole point of this. So what are we changing the game for? Right? Are we helping them change the game to be successful at what they do? Or do we need to dig into the trove and start talking to some folks about how to get into the high castle, how to find that way into Hollywood so that they can make it there? Like, what is it that folks really want? And that's right now, I'm really wondering. And then, like I said, maybe there's a time on this. Maybe 10 years in as an independent filmmaker, you want to make you want to make a living doing what you love. And then after 10 years, maybe you have your eyes set on the prize. So maybe it's 10 years like out of college or whatever. You're just, hey, I just want to be the best at whatever I'm doing. And then you're like, no, I want celebrity. And maybe you go after that for 10 years and then that doesn't work out. And then it goes back to, I just want to make a living doing what, I don't know, maybe that's
right.
I'm not sure. But the whole thing is that we want to be of service because we have connections to industry. We have connections to independent filmmakers. There's just people all across. We have, connections to and our investors. We can provide advice. We can get access to advice. We can do all these things, but we want to make sure that we're doing it for the right reasons. And maybe it's a 50-50. Maybe that's what it comes down to. In some people, their heart of hearts, they just want to be a creative, get their voice out there in the world. And you know what? If someone sees them and, grabs them and brings them along to a Hollywood flick, then hey, so be it. But I think maybe there's another 50% that are just like, no, I think my next work is the work that's going to get me seen and is going to get me pulled up. And that's ultimately what I want. But like I said, I think there's an entirely different track to getting there than what they believe.
In defense of the creative, and maybe to explain the phenomenon that you're talking about, there are three factors at play that I think direct the next move for an independent filmmaker in terms of what they really want. And the first one is temperament. That's sort of the nuanced, silent one that's behind the curtain that is happening to you, through you, that you don't even recognize. For example, someone who's a born journalist is someone very similar to the person you're describing that just wants to sort of make money doing the thing they love. And a journalist perpetually sort of wants to be behind the scene, but be the person that is pulling the strings. And that's a journalistic personality. That personality that says, ooh, I'm really powerful and nobody knows it. And I love it. I love that I'm the puppet master. I'm the one making things happen. I'm creating the news. I'm the source. I'm the whatever. And those personalities might not exist to the degree that we thought they did in independent film. Because if you're a creator, the other thing that happens too as an artist is you need and want to be listened to. And you need and want to be heard. You make the stuff for you, but not for you to listen to or consume or watch over and over and over again, depending on what your art is, right? So you make the painting as an end unto itself, for example, if you're a painter, but you do want other people to see it. I think the general public says, well, but now you need to go sell it to pay your rent. No, we're going to sell it. Yeah. But the point is where does it hang? Far more important to an artist than what did I sell it for?
Where and does one can precede the other, right?
Right.
That's the idea.
Exactly. Where does it hang? The third factor is how to measure success. And I don't think in America, where we're supposed to have laissez-faire capitalism, we clearly have crony capitalism. So, but where we're supposed to have that type of system, we tend to want key performance indicators, KPIs. We tend to want some sort of metric around how we are doing. And that's in every field. Mm-hmm. So if you're an indie filmmaker that was working on $500,000 films in 2021, you want to be an indie filmmaker that's working on $1 million to $2 million films in 22. And then you want to be a studio filmmaker in 2023 making $20 to $40 million films. That's kind of like your natural career progression. Like, okay, if I'm still making indie films for $500,000 in 20 years, I've failed. Whereas me and you would know better. We know that, dude, you've been making films for 20 years and you're able to make a film a year for 20. That's unbelievable. That's awesome. Yeah. You are the truth. You are what everybody should look to. Yeah. I have been a subscriber to Bomb magazine, BOMB, out of New York for the last 5 years. It is chock full of these artists who walk the walk and talk the talk every day. Some of them have a lot of money. Some of them have just enough money. But these are your future Basquiats.
Yeah,
They truly are. These are your next Frank Oceans. This is where your next Aronofsky is working on their craft right as we speak. So I think we have to take into consideration, Nick, those three factors, and then maybe say, here's how you handle your temperament. Here's how you should actually be measuring yourself. And, here's how you should handle, in an era of digital media, your need for everyone to see your work.
Yeah. And I think that, you're spot on with, with many of those. And, one of the ones you talk about is just, what are the KPIs?
Yeah.
And one of those I'm just going to mention, KPIs in another way of saying it, if you will, is like, who are the tastemakers really? Right. KPIs can be things that you sell, it could be dollars amount, that kind of thing. But to me, I think, especially for film, it's about the tastemakers. And, we talk about, let's say you're going to make a film, and I say, well, okay, what's the plan? Well, we're going to send it to the Okie Doke Film Festival. I'm like, what is that? Oh, it started last year. I'm like, what? Why are you sending it there? Like, what is, because blah, blah. I'm like, all right, wait. Because you got friends there, or you went on a mission trip there at some point. Like, no, like it's the tastemakers, right? Yeah. And you don't have to sell. Like you said, it's not about how much it's sold for. It's just where it hangs, right? So you hanging it at Okie Doke is not going to do it for you, right? And it may not be this film that sells. It's like, looking at, Squid Game, since that was one of the big ones of this past year, what I always do with all these things, and this is something that we could probably visit in 2022, kind of my inside baseball, man, I'm never, starstruck. They look at these folks, Squid Game, writer, director, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, man, where was this dude? Where'd he come from? Like, let's go back into his IMDb history a little bit.
Let's research this. How did he get here?
Films? Yeah. Exactly. Let's all look at all these short films that were done. Where did they show? Who were they sponsored by? Who did he engage? What friends was he making along the way? They got him to the next thing and the next thing. They got him to sell that to Netflix 3-4 years ago, or 10 years ago, I think it was. And then they finally brought it out. There's no overnight success in this, right? But where did he hang that first picture?
Yeah.
Right. Where did he hang that second one? And that's the thing. It's like, are you actually out there where the tastemakers are? And are you using that as one of your KPIs? Right. Because to me, if you could get it at one of these larger festivals, or even screened at somewhere that is significant, that might be infinitely, I'm not going to say a 10x, I'm not going to say 100, infinitely better than getting it on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Right. Which seems to be the KPI, right? These days, everybody's like, oh, I got distribution. You did, where are you distributing?
Well, I think it's the backslide KPI. It's the KPI. No, we don't dare mention because the reality is that I think every filmmaker knows that was plan B. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to save face for their investors, their equity investors. They're trying to put on a good face for them. And then they're also trying to put on a good face for their peers, because they want to be able to make a second film, and they want to have pride in the anguish it is to make an indie film. Like, it's our friend Nick Frangione describes it as you plan for climbing Kilimanjaro or whatever. Like, you get to the summit, but you never plan for having to come back down. So you're breathing all the beautiful air up there, you're seeing the sights, and then it just dawns on you that you have to go back down without dying. And you're like, crap, I did not plan for that at all, which is really what explains the phenomenon of being very precious during the pitch project when you're trying to raise capital. like, this is our baby. We've been working on this for 3 years. And then at the end of the film, you like give your baby to anybody. Please take my baby.
Right, please.
Please take the baby off my hands.
Yeah.
I can't do it anymore. But you said something interesting too about taste making. And it's really interesting. It's a nut sort of we need to crack, I think, in one of our 3 tiers. And by the way, quick aside, you mentioned we want to help. That's absolutely true. Of course, we want to help. We want to make things better for independent filmmakers. I'm not sure everybody knows how we help. So again, we work in these 3 tiers of service. One is being executive producers. And so we invest in film. We actually have a fund you can donate your money to if you're a high net worth individual, an accredited investor, and or a person who just wants to donate to the arts. You can actually put those dollars into our fund, and we will find a qualifying screenplay to invest it into or put it into or give it away to those artists. So I didn't know if you knew that. Maybe we can give that link to Elise and she can throw it in a show note or something like that, Nick. So that's the investment side. Then we do branding and marketing. Even filmmakers that live in LA understand the Hollywood machine. They talk to us all the time and they say, my plan up front was to do a theatrical run and then go to streaming. And Nick and I will say, well, what happened because it didn't make it to theatrical? It went to Amazon Prime. And they're like, we just didn't know what we didn't know in development or in pre-pro. And then we'll say, well, wait a second, what was your branding and marketing? Oh, that was a big mistake too. We didn't even know to do that. And then we realize, well, that's the real answer. The real answer, sure, maybe things could have happened differently in a different area, but the reality is that filmmakers across the world still haven't gotten the message that no one's going to watch your movie if no one knows what your movie's about. And just had this conversation 3 days ago, Nick, swear to God, with a filmmaker where I said, yes, everything can be awesome, but you have to have your business part done before principal photography. You have to do it. And he was driving in his car or whatever. And I'm like, listen, man, you keep skipping over this. I'm going to take you back. You have to have your business and financial structure done so that the movie is prepared to succeed before you shoot. And that's the difference between a profitable movie and one that doesn't make a profit.
Yeah, but I can jump in on that one before you get to the next, the last one for us. That's the challenge, right? That you and I have been facing for, I feel like it's 4 years now.
Yeah.
And this is why I asked the question in the beginning about what do you want to be, right? Yeah. It seems simple, right? Have your business plan straight. Understand that what you're doing is a business.
Yeah.
Understand that you want to make this thing as profitable as possible. So do the things that a business would do to try to make that thing profitable, but they don't want to. They refuse to.
Yeah. It
flatly
disrupts what they know. It reminds me of coming out of college and being a Mac guy back before Mac had massive market share, and having all these like .NET folks like be super defensive against anything Apple because their whole career was based on the fact that they learned how to do databasing and SQL and everything in Microsoft tools. They had their whole certification in Microsoft. Mm-hmm. So anything outside of that was like, fuck that. And I feel that way like with filmmakers sometimes too, and producers, where it's like, I'm not going to be good at that. I cannot show this team that I'm not going to be good at that. So therefore, we're going to ignore that advice. Thank you for your thoughts and prayers. We're going to ignore that advice and keep moving forward with the plan that so-and-so did, 10 years ago. And it's like,
exactly. But that's the thing, is that they're not leveraging a business model, right? Yeah. They're leveraging this idea, this unicorn thing, right? Like you said, this film did it 10 years ago and it blew up and it was indie film. That's not a model for your business. That's not. Yeah. So that's the thing, is that they're not. And that's what I'm saying. Again, there's a 50-50. This is not all filmmakers. But I do believe that so many of them are literally looking for someone to find them and pick them up out of where they are and take them to the promised land based off of that one film. So that's the thing. The film itself doesn't need to be financially successful in their minds. It doesn't need all this branding and marketing. It just needs to be made in their image. And once someone sees that thing, game over. Right.
Yeah.
And that's
what's your business plan? Blair Witch.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that leads me to branding and marketing though, Nick, which is like,
yep.
Perhaps you can't execute on everything, but you certainly need strategy. And that's the sort of the second thing that we do. Like we'll sit down with the filmmakers. We'll do 4 month, 2 month, 4 month, 6 month engagements. We'll do forever engagements with you as well, where we can put together a strategy and say, let's execute these. If we can execute 80% of these things, we like your chances here of getting what you wanted at the beginning during development when you set out your goals. Hey, your goal could be theatrical. Your goal could be micro theater, right? So like 20 theaters. Your goal could be sell to Netflix. Your goal could be make $1 million. Whatever your goal is, you need to develop a marketing and branding plan that supports the weight of the goal that you have. And the bigger the goal, the more sort of support and bearing that branding and marketing plan really needs. And the spend is going to go with it, but it's going to pay off dividends at the end when you're not scrambling to figure out how to get eyeballs on your movie and garner interest while it's in post and you can't leverage anything. So, and the third area is thought leadership, for those that know or don't know, I should say. And that's kind of what we're doing now. That's what this podcast is. But we do it in a variety of ways. We do panel talks. We'll be jurors at film festivals, panel contributors on film festivals and conferences. The Make It podcast, of course, keynote speeches, and a forthcoming book. And we just want to continue to build upon the thought leadership so that it isn't such a foreign concept for independent filmmakers. When you really look at the concept for independent filmmakers to do branding and marketing, or to have that business plan together, or have like honest comps, for example, or learn how to get equity investment or treat their angels, or et cetera, we want it to be common. When I zoom out and look at sort of the macro world of the independent film space, Nick, there really aren't a lot of voices. There really aren't a lot of voices. There are a lot of film voices, but they're supporting an industry that's already well supported. When it comes down to indie voices, there's like a small basket of credible voices, like globally, like maybe 100. That's small in a world of 8 billion people going into an economy where everybody's supposed to be a creator. Like, I think what we're doing is important, and I hope those listening feel the same way. So anyway, quick aside on why Bonsai wants to help and what we do. 3 areas: executive producing, branding and marketing, and thought leadership. You mentioned Tastemaker. I want to go back to that.
Yep.
NFTs, and I know everybody wants to vomit because they hear that too much. NFTs are a great example of how a tastemaker can alter evaluation. Not evaluation, but a valuation of a particular piece of content. And it would be interesting for us or someone else or some filmmaker to figure out how to get a bunch of people in a room that say, do you believe in this? Yeah, I believe in this. Okay, do you believe in this? Yeah, I believe in that. And then what happens is value is created around it. That's literally sort of what drives the US dollar, for example, in the early days, or an NFT, or an auction piece at Sotheby's, or Sotheby's. It's about Nick being rich and saying, I think this is the best art I've seen in a year. And then me feeling a certain way because I like and follow Nick and saying, well, if he likes it, I'd be a fool not to like it.
Right.
And I'm going to outbid him. And then Nick saying, who the hell is this guy? And then a third person noticing that. And then all of a sudden you have a bidding war. Well, it happens in Hollywood all the time, but it happens through masterful agents and publicists. They put out a thing, they're able to create a buzz, and the FOMO kicks in. It's also how films get invested in on the indie scale. Like a really smart investor is first in, and then all of a sudden the other investors are like, I don't want to miss out on this. If they invested, it's probably safe. I'll throw my money in. There's an investor in town here, Kelly Frey, that's like that. If Kelly invests in it, there are other little investors that'll come around and say, well, we better throw our money in too. Right? Like, because, he can't be wrong.
Yeah,
of course he can be wrong.
Right, but he's a tastemaker, right?
But he's a tastemaker
in many ways in the area. I mean, that's especially what he's done for film and his engagement with independent filmmakers, and he's got a lot of people trust him. So again, it's that. It's just, yes, he has some money, and Kelly Frey is doing some big things for the state of Tennessee as we speak, but he has a very trusted brand. In that southeast region or that southern region. And I think that's, like you said, as a tastemaker, other people will jump on because they trust that he knows what he's doing.
Right, exactly. So like, why is a JPEG of a bored ape worth what it's worth? It's because these different tastemakers that people trust and respect keep getting on podcasts and getting on Twitter, and they're basically buying from one another, knowing they all have the liquidity necessary to buy from one another, right? And then what happens is a couple of hundred outsiders get involved, and then they're part of the club, and they're buying at a rate that is 4x, 5x, 6x, up, 10x what the original ape cost. And then they become what Nick, me, and you call the bag holder. Yeah, right. Or I guess it's like a known thing, but yeah, they're the bag holder, and then they're trying to throw their ape on the market for $100,000 to $200,000, and they can't find anybody to buy them.
Yeah, because
the sale happened before at $50,000,
right? Yeah,
or at $40,000. So they'll take that sale at 40. Because they're selling 10,000 of them.
Right.
Delicious. Yum, yum.
Yeah.
Of course.
All you had to have was a small handful.
A small handful.
And maybe even one, but of tastemakers. Yep.
Yep. About 30. About 30 people selling against each other, creating a stir, talking about it on their platforms. And then you get the outsiders come in to be the bag holder. And look, if it's not a grift, great. It'll be up to those original creators to continue to pour value into the Bored Ape Club by making TV shows, films, albums, etc., like they plan on doing, so that it's not a pure bag holder pump and dump scheme that happens across a variety of asset classes, honestly.
Right. So, and which will happen and has happened and is happening with NFTs as well. But yeah. NFTs, crypto, a bunch of,
it's like some are in it and they're really in it. Like those cryptos that like have a utility that actually do something, like Ethereum, for example, and the 2.0 that's coming around the corner, Bitcoin, which is digital gold and has a limit, a cap to it. But, there are other coins that don't do anything and have no cap. And it's literally a pump and dump cycle over and over, even if the coin isn't worth much. So, if you buy Dogecoin at 5 cents and it runs to 35 cents, you made a ton of money. If you bought it at volume, that's still pump and dump, even if it's 5 cents to 35 cents. So the question comes back to film. How do we take an indie film asset, pump it? And to me, it sounds like, and I guess the dump would be when viewers watch it or purchase it off of a streamer or in a theater or wherever they can watch it. It feels like what you need is a growth hack strategy where you're able to use whatever leverage you have to bring in a notable celebrity that's adjacent to the film topic, right, Nick? Like whatever the film's about. Right. And that's, like you said, so celebrity, not to be in the film, Nick, but to promote the film. Or
I know. And I hate to use the term Yeah, and I hate to use this term because it's kind of been subsumed a little bit by social media, but an influencer, right? That's the key for me, right?
Yeah.
Because the influencer doesn't have to be a celebrity in the way that we think of celebrities. The influencer could be a community organizer, right?
Yeah.
That it's someone who has a stage that's bigger than your own. That's the idea, right? So if you can get someone who has a stage that's bigger than your own to rep your thing, then, it could be much bigger than you could ever have imagined. So yeah, if you can get an influencer, someone who's willing to put their reputation kind of on the line for what you're creating, then yeah, go for it. That's the hack.
Yeah, you make a cop movie, get Danny Glover to talk about it.
There you go.
Like literally spend all your marketing spend early to just be hassling and DMing Danny Glover. And then, or Mel Gibson or, whoever else would be known in the cop world.
And you get Danny Glover to say, I'm not watching this guy's cop movie. Why? Because I'm getting too old for this shit.
Right. Something like that. Something kitschy, something quick, something dirty.
Yeah.
And something that just brings a quick smile. Because there are a lot of things on the internet that bring us a lot of drama. But the reason we keep opening those apps is because of the dopamine hit of being shown something creative and funny that brings us a quick smile.
Yeah.
They added TikTok to Teslas in this last update. So I'm sitting in a line today and I decided to go ahead and give it a shot. And the first 6 videos were like Asians dancing poorly. And then like the 7th video was some girl with a big old ass doing like the Tootsie Roll. And I just like swipe past all of them, like so bored with that. Like that happens every day. And then finally I get on this Daffy or Donald Duck one where Donald Duck is rapping. And I was like, okay, total waste of time. But that one made me smile. Yeah. That one was worthwhile. I watched the whole thing. I laughed on a snowy day. It sounds like a novel.
It does. Yeah, a laugh on a snowy day.
And that's what happened. And so, I'll endure the bullshit videos I saw before to enjoy that one video there that gives me a smile. So filmmakers, if you're out there, that's one growth hack we just shared with you. That one's free of charge. Go do that. See what happens. See what happens when a tastemaker vouches for your thing or a variety of tastemakers vouch for your thing, and see if that can coincide with another marketing strategy that will make your film noticeable, watchable, be of interest to viewers. Nick, do you have anything else I think we did it. I think we did the thing.
We did the thing, man.
Yeah.
And I have to say that I'm proud of us. I'm proud of us.
Relatively.
Yeah, we're exactly. I was like, I know I threw one out there that was just came out of nowhere. But yes, we did it. So I'm like, this is good. Let's do it. Let's cut it before it just becomes a crazy cough fest, and then we're just apologizing left and right. But yeah, it's just good to be back, man, on this, kind of post Omicron, walking into the new year with antibodies, and just back here with you, man, doing what we love doing and having a good time and building this community that we have here. Friend by friend through our conversations, through the podcast, through all the festivals that we attended last year, the new ones that we'll attend this year. It's just a great experience, hanging out with these folks in the indie film community. So I'm happy to be a part of it. I'm happy to be a part of this, as I put out there on the socials, dude, I'm grateful for you, grateful for this partnership that we got going on here, and grateful for, a 2022 that I know is going to be awesome.
Totally agree. Love you so much. I have this secret ambition that me and you will be like the co-founders of Waffle House, where we both lived in 99 and like die one day after each other. Isn't that so sweet? Isn't that sweet?
Yeah. Or like Ben and Jerry, like they're still doing it.
Yeah,
so
just
still
doing
making
it,
it
still,
happen.
and still raising hell too. Good for Ben.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, I love that. So here we are together another year, and we do owe a massive, massive thank you to everyone that was a part of our thought leadership journey in 2021 on the Make It podcast. Every single guest was amazing. Those conversations are evergreen, and we will talk about them a little bit on another Indie Talk coming up. But to me, this was my favorite year being the host and facilitator of these amazing conversations with these creatives that are otherworldly. And we'll have more of those in 2022, but 2021 will always have a special place in my heart because of those guests that really made the podcast so just elevated it to a new place. So with that, Nick.
And wait, one more.
We
got to give a lot of love to the folks that also help us make those conversations happen behind the scenes. Right.
Thank you,
Nick. They're behind the scenes.
Thank you, Nick.
But
I know you want to give yourself a pat on the back.
No. This is, we got to give the shout outs to our folks, Elise, all our love, Jason, all our love, Papa Bear, all our love, and I think that there's going to be some more collaborators with us in the new year. And I am super excited about that too, because it's a growing team of people who have kind of signed on to this journey as well, right? Yep. Who see the value in what we're doing, who are supportive, who are champions of this effort. And, we just, I can't say we can't do it without them. We don't want to do it without them. We are blessed to have them as part of this. It's more than we just can't do it. We want to do it with you folks. And it's awesome. It's been a blessing in 2021. It's going to be a blessing in 2022.
That's right. Papa Bear, Elise, Jay, we love you. Thank you so much. And we love you listeners out there as well. And if you love us back, or even if you don't, you can reach out to us and let us know that at contact@bonsai.film. That's an email address. Contact@bonsai.film. A great place to reach out to us. You can also find us on social media at _Bonsai Creative. That's on Instagram and on Twitter. If you want to reach out to us on Facebook, we're there too. Just search for Bonsai Creative Enterprises or Bonsai Creative, and we will come right up. Again, as we've mentioned a few times already, this year we're going to be expanding that to TikTok and YouTube, so look out for that. If you want to reach out to Nick directly, Nick@bonsai.film. He would love your comments, queries, questions, concerns, etc. That's NICK@bonsai.film. And if you want to reach out to me, I love getting feedback at Twitter or on Twitter. And I am Flame in Your Heart. Or you can just search for Christopher Barkley and I will pop right up. Last but not least, wherever you've been listening, Spotify, I've noticed has really been blowing up recently. But Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, SoundCloud, wherever you're listening, do your best to rate us 5 stars. It just takes a second. It means a lot to us. It helps people find us and helps this podcast grow and sustain. And if you want to leave some words of encouragement as well, we'd certainly appreciate that. Last but not least, if you go to bonsai.film/true fans, that's bonsai.film/true fans, you can contribute to this podcast effort, and contributions start as low as $5. $5. You can't even get a dirty chai for that. You can't. Not at Starbucks. Nope. You can't get a dirty chai for that. Yeah. So for the cost of a dirty chai, you can support the continuation of this podcast and this thought leadership and podcast effort. So please do that. Bonsai.film/true fans. And we would certainly appreciate it. And there's good stuff that comes with that as well. Little member benefits on the way in 2022 for sure. And I think that's it. We don't.
You got it, man.
We have a little newsletter, but I'll figure out a way to promote that better on this on the next time. But if you go to our website, bonsai.film, you'll find a way to be part of the creative community just by dropping your email in there. So, Nick, with that, please give us the first credo of 2022.
Oh man. Gotta make sure I don't cough through this, you know? So my folks, be better, be creative, be engaged.
And thank you for listening. Nick, talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. We'll do it again.
All right, brother. Be good.
All right, man. Yep. Take it easy.
You too. Get some sleep.
Yes, sir. All right. Peace.
You've been listening to the Make It podcast. To find out more information about this week's topics, including links to relevant blog posts, projects, and indie creatives, please visit our website at www.bonsai.film. If you haven't already, you can join our podcast community on Apple Podcasts or the podcast app of your choice by searching for Make It Bonsai Creative, and the show will pop right up. You now have the opportunity to support the production of this podcast. If you love Make It and are a true fan of what we're trying to accomplish in the indie film community, please visit www.bonsai.film and click Contribute. Contributions start at only $5 monthly. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at _Bonsai Creative and on Facebook by searching for Bonsai Creative. You can provide feedback to us via email at contact@bonsai.film, and you can follow me, Chris, on Twitter at FlamingYourHeart. That's FlamingYurHeart. And of course, if you're looking to take a big step towards your filmmaking success, go to www.bonsai.film and click on Services to explore a variety of offerings from keynotes and panels to pitch readiness assessments and so much more. You have everything to gain. Until next time, be better, be creative, be engaged, and thank you for listening.